Peace. Good evening. I'd like to welcome you back to another edition of the Foul Playland. As always, I am Sir Foul Player of Brooklyn, coming at you with a late night stream. I saw nobody else is on of my contemporaries, so I said, what the heck? I want to talk some of this political talk, being that we're a couple days out from the selection that's due to take place. Uh, Hearing different reports as to who's winning. Um, I try to not to be biased, and I listen. I actually listen to regular um, mainstream media, corporate news, in addition to keeping track of what's happening on Twitter, to have a feet in both sides. I think even though the mainstream media is a dying medium, I like to still sample and listen to it because of what I could learn from what they're trying to put out. I basically look at it as they could be BSing me, so it's good to listen to regular mainstream media. But I also listen to and read some of the things I see on Twitter. Twitter, I never really started messing with it, honestly, up until about the time that Elon Musk bought the website. I'm not a big social media person in general. I really don't know how to operate social media, like Instagram, for instance. But I do go to Twitter because there's a lot of material just to read, and I think that that's missing from today's media in general. Like it's a lot of framing. I don't like framing. I like data. I like raw conversations, not somebody trying to convince me. But you get a lot of that on Twitter, and it's good to see. You know, I'll refrain from that. But as far as like with opinions on like the wars that are happening abroad and whatnot, I don't want to listen to like the media here when I think a lot of it, at best, it's lies or compromise. So I still listen to regular media in addition to also keeping track of what the crazies are saying on Twitter, if you will. But hearing different reports as to who's leading, some people say Trump is leading. Regular mainstream media I listened to this morning or Sunday before the football games had Trump in a tie or even or barely losing in like six in the seven in four of the seven swing states, if I remember correctly. I think there's 6 or 7 swing states, but which they said that was like from what they were saying in the mainstream media show that I was watching that day, that if Mr. T is close in those states, that might be a bad indication because Clinton was farther ahead at this time during her election against Trump. She was ahead by more points, so they were worried as to how Kamala Harris could pick up points. Whereas in other facets of the media, you'll hear that Kamala is holding a resounding lead. Things are going really well for her campaign, but I'm gonna be as candid as I could as far as like the people I talk to in real life. Also, one thing I do want to talk about is there's videos that just real people that are going out to areas and asking people in real time, and it's a good barometer of how people are gonna vote. It's a kid named Nick Shirley. He's done a lot of good investigative reporting as far as going to Ukraine. He's been to the border. He actually did a story in a Salvadorian prison. And he's a young guy too. He's like 23 years old. But um, he's goes around asking, like in Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia, it seemed to be 50-50 the last time he went, like, which I think was today, actually, this afternoon. The last time he went, he was saying that it was more votes for Kamala, or Kamala, however you want to say it. I don't know how to pronounce Indian names. But when he went to Wisconsin, it seemed to be more people that were looking to vote for Kamala. What I found really interesting, though, I mean, not interesting, but what people make it seem like I may be BSing about because I have skin in the game as far as who I want to win in this coming election, is stuff that I said on certain panels, like here on YouTube, in regards to like the conditions in New York, um, and how New Yorkers feel about the current administration and some of the moves they made in relation to new entrants into the country. I was saying, and like what many New Yorkers feel. I'm from New York. I was just in New York a couple days ago, uh, last Tuesday, I think, for an art show with my son. Um, my mom still lives in New York in the same neighborhood I grew up in. So I have been saying that for the last, since about COVID, or right after COVID, even a little before COVID, that New York was getting overrun. Like the migrant situation was terrible. But as soon as this administration came into office, it got resoundingly worse. That can't be debated. You see sexual acts in the street, gang violence, and this is just in my little neighborhood. Uh, but this is not limited to my little neighborhood in New York. In fact, the art show that I went to, and if any clown wants to come debate whether I went to the art show, and I actually bought a piece of art from the art show, but the art show wasn't in my neighborhood. I'm from Sunset Park, Brooklyn, New York, and the art show I went to was in Lower East Side, Manhattan. Now, Lower East Side, Manhattan, I mean, just about the same. I mean, it's more homeless people, but by and large, Lower East Side, Manhattan, it's an opulent area, very artsy. Has it gotten worse? Yes, as far as dirtiness, the fact that it doesn't feel as easygoing as it did, say, like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. But every other part of New York, by and large, I mean, my neighborhood, every neighborhood that's around it, Bay Ridge, Borough Park, Coney Island, Bensonhurst, all these neighborhoods have gotten way worse. I mean, you're talking about smaller neighborhoods. Some of the ones that I mentioned aren't bad neighborhoods. That now you're seeing sex workers, liberated sex workers selling their ass outside, which is something that we wouldn't see before. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, some fool may argue that that stuff happens all the time, but no, the stuff that's happening now all the time that may be on minds and most Americans' mind is happening at a rate we haven't been really seeing. So I mean, like, going back to my New York point though, the Nick Shirley guy went to Castle Hill in the Bronx, and I actually hung out in Castle Hill in the Bronx. I know people in Castle Hill in the Bronx. I'm not from the Bronx. In fact, I don't have a great opinion of the Bronx. I hate the Yankees, um, but I'm actually familiar with Castle Hill. Uh, Funnily enough, or I knew people in the past from Castle Hill. I've been to Castle Hill. I've been to many places in the Bronx. Anyways, Trump had gone to a barbershop in the same area, Castle Hill, and that area, by and large, like most of the Bronx. I mean, the Bronx is Latin and black and everything else now, but the core, the root of the Bronx, without doubt, it's black and Hispanic intermixed. Like there's really no difference. I mean, in that video, you could actually see like when he talks to a lady, um, the blackest lady that he talks to starts talking in Spanish to a woman. but she's talking like plain English, like a regular black chick in New York. But that's because like that mix in all over New York, black, Latin, as far as Puerto Ricans that were there, not these newly arrived like came yesterday Latin. And even Mexican cats. Mexican cats started coming to New York like in the '90s. I mean, I like, but Mexican cats in New York, like from my neighborhood and all over New York, don't want these new cats here either. But that's besides the point. But Castle Hill in the Bronx, where this kid Nick Shirley. I mean, if you guys could please subscribe to Nick Shirley. Makes great content, interviewing people in the streets. He was interviewing people regarding who they were going to vote for, and the choice was Trump or Kamala. In the Bronx, I'm not gonna lie to you people, and if you guys question, please go look at the video yourself. Nick Shirley in the Bronx. Um, it seemed to be 75% for Trump. Now, before these racist liberals get divisive on you and say, well, that that's those are Latin people up there, because liberals get like into siphoning who's what, like who's what nationality, like when they get pinned into a corner. Everything's about the color of somebody's skin, um, in terms of liberals, and I'm talking about white liberals. Everything's the color of somebody's skin, and when you come to the how these white liberals talk. Am I getting chat? Because this is the most people I've had on any sort of anything live that I've done. Much love. I mean, if you guys are cat people, I mean, I've worked as far as with the cats for a while. I'm not gonna front. A lot of the cat community, flaming liberal, but I don't get into political talk all the time. When it comes up, it comes up. I think I try to pry myself into political talk in some of those spaces because, um, not in cat spaces, but liberal spaces in general. Like they don't know how to handle a Puerto Rican dude from New York um, saying something that doesn't sound emotional or racism, like and not to discount anything. I mean, like I'm not conservative like that. I'm pushed into the conservative realm as of this stage. Liberals have gone nuts. I was more liberal than any liberal that by and large. I didn't care who married who before most people gave a shit about it. I'm still for free healthcare. I'm anti-war, which liberals were anti-war when I consider myself a liberal. I'm a huge anti-war, big against the military industrials, and it seems like liberals in a matter of a couple of years have flipped the script on all the policies that I liked about them and caved in. But you can't really question them because all their policies and their existence right now are predicated upon one man being the most evil person in the universe, according to them. Anyhow, the Nick Shirley dude went to the New York and he got the results that I would have expected in my neighborhood, Sunset Park, Brooklyn. Had you have walked through Fifth Avenue, the major concourse, where most people walk, mostly Latin, you got a mixed bag, black, and they would have told you the same shit. Nobody's fucking with this Kamala lady at all. And it's funny too because there were certain precincts in Brooklyn that swung conservative the last time around. Because I remember at that time I was actually attending college as an adult, and some of the kids were all sensationalized, like saying, "Oh, you got to remember these areas in Brooklyn." They weren't even like some of them were mixed areas, but Brooklyn already swung in that direction before all the bullshit that hit Brooklyn by way of this migration wave. Um, oh, I'm sorry, Maggot Queen. I just saw your comment. Heard they won was nearly 4 years ago. What good has she done for the country but running into the ground? Genuine question, my man. Let's have a dialogue. As far as good things she's done to the country, joy. Uh, she laughs. The other day, she had a presser at a Detroit event, and she wore a shirt that said Detroit versus everybody. That was so cool. She slayed. Um, let's see what else. She laughs a lot. Did I say joy? Let's see what else. Oh, she's black. Let's see. Did I say joy? Let me see. Pass the chips act. Thank you for coming through, Maggot Queen 2024 and MD. Um, Pass the chips act. If you could please refresh my memory. I'm actually sitting both cross-legged on my sofa, making this video unprepared. What joy no one can afford to live anymore, from groceries to gas and housing costs. Listen, Maggot Queen. I just ate a delicious bowl of ice chips and joy. Joy because Trump's mean and something. Kamala somehow is gonna fix meanness. So you eat your ice in peace. Oh, you let me enjoy my belly full of ice and let me wash it down with a clean glass of a tap water. Cause I'm gonna eat joy tomorrow for breakfast. You get out of here, bigot. Uh, what's the and as far as MD, could you tell me past the chip sack? I don't mean to be coarse, guys, either. Like, uh, you either, my queen. The it's good that people, and the thing is too, it's fantastic if you guys had the benefit. Oh yeah, let me go back to the Nick Shirley guy though. Um, I'm hoping this is the troll. Of course it is. I'm hoping this is the troll for this. Come on, the nah, but if you go to the Nick Shirley videos where he does interviews in the street, he actually did one today. Oh no, he did another one. He did the one in the Bronx. Nobody was for Kamala. People that explained their reasoning behind being for Trump actually had things to say. The people that were for Kamala had things to say about Trump. You know, I think even besides all this stuff, like the world's way too dangerous. Past the infrastructure bill. Could you name some things from the? Let me see. View message. Scripturas del Partido Democrático. ¿Quién tiene? Yo. The past the infrastructure bill. Who? Biden. Could you name some things that are good from that infrastructure bill that you agree with, that you could sell me on? Because right now I'm wavering on MD. I'm a swing voter. I'm unconvinced thus far, but I will tell you that I'm thoroughly broke these last couple years. I think I remember during the prior to that I was doing a lot better than I am now, but I do sense some incoming joy around the bend. I'm assured by Kamala's laugh and cackle that although we may see war break out in three fronts. Shut the fuck up. Nobody cares. Chief. Another moderator. I had moderate. I don't even know I had moderators. Oh, I'm the moderator. STFU. Nobody cares. I don't know. I care. But yeah. In terms of, and the thing is too that with the what I did see with the Nick Shirley videos and what I've seen in real life. I mean, like real life friends of mine. Tons of them looked at me as if their moral compass was seated thoroughly because of who they were voting for 4 years ago. Now, some of those people, without giving me any credit, mind you, but so long as they came to the proper conclusion, so be it. But now, some of these people are the biggest conservatives, going. Latin people, Puerto Ricans, So, and this has been happening for a while. And I mean, my so-called conservatives or my friction with liberals started happening again. You couldn't find anybody more liberal than me in the beginnings of the 2000s, 90s. I mean, I grew up going to clubs since I was a kid. Not no fucking teen clubs. I never been to a teen club in my life. New York City clubs. You know, you see all kinds of fucking um the rainbow community, fucking you name it. I mean, nobody gave two shits. Some of those people are repulsed by what they see nowadays. You know, some of these things. It's basically a test of whether you'll ingest it patiently or not nowadays. And I think people have just had it. Also, too, I mean, for the writing is on the wall for minorities that are already in this country too. At some point, this new wave of people are gonna be the baby that they lionize and that they pretend to give a shit about and take care of, like they've been acting and pretending like they've been giving shit about the black community and Latin community for these past couple years. New York has been liberal as long as I remember it. Liberal judges have been locking up people in New York unjustly as long as I remember it. Liberal judges have seen cops beat the shit out of people in New York and kill them and whatnot. As long as I remember it, they let it slide. Some of those same people flipped the script, and now I'm supposed to. And now their come to God moment or their one good act is the fact that they dislike one guy and supposed to make me into a cretin because I don't agree. I mean, I'm cool with that. I'm cool not agreeing with the mainstream media. Cool not agreeing with emotional people. Cool not wanting expensive groceries, massive waves of migrants. Which I mean, a lot of people that are dissenters don't have to deal with migrants. My mom does. My mom deals with migrants every day. Dangerous ones in New York. And for all you yuppie liberals who probably think that life is Grand Theft Auto and scenes from Save the Last Dance, and thinking that a lot of these people are coming in here to make fucking guacamole for you, or to serve you, or to pick your fruits, because you guys always use that example. Well, who's gonna pick your fruits? Like, fuck, because you guys are the ones that look at things for your needs. I mean, because those are your life examples. So I don't need people. I mean, picking my fruit isn't a primary thing within that hierarchy. I'm not gonna like try to get a cheaper fruit supposedly, which that's not how things play out anyway. While also trying to live amongst a wave of new people. I don't like any people that are around me before this. Why would I want more people? New York was already packed before this. Why would they want more New Yorkers? It's a bunch of bullshit. And getting handouts. Oh, I could show these comments. I forgot about that. And getting handouts. How do I show these? Oh, can I? And getting handouts that they never even dreamed of, five-star hotels, name brand phones, and all kinds of luxury items that come out of their own pockets. They went through so much to get here, and it's like they're getting spit in the face. We have an amazing country because of the people who came here and brought it so many corners of the world here just to make it home and shared their vast cultures as well. That's true in many cases. I mean, and I'm gonna be very candid with you, and like being that we're just conversing here. When you talk about the woke movement, before there was a woke movement was even thought of, there was something called within the black sphere, the conscious community. Before the conscious community term was even thought of, there was just people in Brooklyn that would just chop it up and would talk about religion, the Bible, all black, by and large, all black Israelites preaching in the street, and it always had a different tenor. It always had like a tough, militaristic, non-evangelical vibe. Like if you talk about Israelites, um, it wasn't just like that. It was just it was people that would talk about Egypt in relation to the Bible, deep conversations. I mean, and this is like in the '90s, for instance. I was always interested in that kind of stuff because I grew up Pentecostal one, but I would cut class and go to Fulton Mall and chop it up with a lot of these people just to bullshit. I wouldn't buy stuff. I ain't have money anyway. But just to listen to them debate with other people too, it was riveting. Um, I've always been conscious of like my relation, like with cops has always been, in the past tenuous, like anybody in New York, but nowadays, I mean, but I've always had that mindset, like where there was my people versus these people. It was drummed up. A lot of it, I don't know. Maybe I picked up fucking who knows? I mean, and then I'm living in it too, mind you. I'm not living in no fucking no high rise. I'm living in Section 8, fucking shitty ass upbringing. But um the wave of I like not the wave. Every I think a lot of like having political discourse in which the treatment of like police, if that comes up out of the clear blue, like which nowadays it just comes up, or like things to do solely with race. I mean, I just can't engage in that kind of conversation no more because it's like, what's the point of me trying to defend it? One, because I mean they're gonna bring my race into it. I mean, I grew up with 100% black people, part of a black gang for the most. I mean, not 100% black people, but I grew up with black people in addition to Latin people, part of a black gang. You name it, but none of that stuff means nothing because you don't want to vote for Kamala. But before that, I mean, nobody was voting for Kamala just this past June. I mean, a lot of these people were dead set on voting for Biden. Nevertheless, trudge along. I mean, I think we're in dynamic times. I mean, I look at that. I was just looking at the moon before I made this live stream. I never seen this. Don't want to sound poetic, but I never seen the moon look so pretty, so different. Never felt the air so crisp. It just feels like I don't know, like there's a foreboding. Something spicy is gonna happen no matter what anyway because the election is a couple days away. I mean, our boy almost got his helmet popped off twice, um, and that's not a good thing. I don't want that to come to nobody really. Um, but at this stage, I mean, it's really scary that we're so close to this thing popping off. Um, I'm of the belief that some funkiness happened the last go round. I mean, that's just my belief. I mean, if you want to bring up court cases and whatnot, I mean, feel free. But I actually read and stuff too, and it's basically your info versus my info. So neither one of us are experts. This message is held for review. Let's see. Ba Ba ha ha. She's a failure. She's responsible for murder. Ooh. I should not have said that. She already lost. It's disgusting. I'm sorry, Jennifer. You can leave any comment. It was just the word about regarding the ending of life and whatnot. But thank you for showing up, Miss Lynn. Um, I'll just hide the one comment though, but you can leave as many comments as you want. I would rather people go to a church than go out and hurt people than live in the same place as them. A lot of it is also has to do with the absence of fathers. Everyone needs a good role model. Yeah, and you see that a lot. Like I was thinking about this in the shower today. Like I grew up. First heard a rap song when I was 5 years old, and I was addicted to it. It was You Got a Big Mouth by the Fat Boys, and I was 5 years old. It was probably like 1987. Um, I just thought it was the greatest art form ever. I mean, my cousins loved it. My older brothers loved it. I was the youngest brother at that time. I was just so impressed by it. Um, Unfortunately, though, when hip hop got pushed into um, the goonery bullshit, I don't think that black people had a choice in that. One, I mean, the artists, yeah, of course they have a choice, but they're paid handsomely. If you tell me to rap about the rainbow community, I mean, so long as I didn't have to wear anything funny or like touch a man, I mean, nah, I still wouldn't do it. But you get the point, though. If I were 18, I'd probably consider doing it. But anyhow, um, I think that the 70s, because to me they always run tricks like on the people. I want to get into a more oogie boogie. Well, I like this is my more oogie like or my more spooky translation of how these things usually play out. That they usually run these spells on like the populace using a black version of something and a white version of something. So I was thinking in the shower today that the hippie era of the 60s was a clean version of not giving a shit and fuck the family and go do what you want to do. And it was a really clean version of doing that. But then when it came to like the popularized version of the black counterparts of doing the same thing, it became some like where like some pimp shit, basically, like where they started making pimp movies. Again, black people didn't have a say in that, like because they weren't producing pimp movies. It's usually the same people that produce those pimp movies were producing the shitty ass. I mean, not shitty ass because I love gangster rap. We're producing the gangster rap a couple years later. Um, in the '80s, it kind of was more of a high stream decadence era, like high pop culture, I guess. Like there was a better example I had in terms of like the white version of that, but then somehow it got. Oh, actually, no. I'm sorry. This was the white version. The '80s was kind of like the beginning that I remember, like because I grew up in the '80s. Remember, um, like where like teen movies like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, where you actually seen like women's breasts, or things that were marketed like to young people, like young white kids, had like overt sexualism. So it kind of like became the era of the women, especially of like white women, to become like more free sexually, and it to be like a more you could be free sexually and still be a businesswoman, still run out the house and climb up the corporate ladder. Whereas like that era for black people or minorities was the gangster era. Now we come into the today's era, the black white spell in today's era. And I'm sorry if this is a long drawn out explanation, but remember too, I'm a nutty person. I think about these things all the time. Today's era, the the I forgot the example that I used for today's era. And if you guys think this is shitty, too, please tell me. Today's era, I think it was to do with the like white guilt, I guess. I like, and there's also like the whole like women um, being able to have their processes done as being a cause to lionize, whereas like that in the current era, in my estimation, with my theory again, is that that got made into the for the brothers to become where social justice is the only thing we can talk about. Social justice is the only thing we can talk about. Social justice is the only thing we could talk about only in this framework. And like in 2024, I mean, and I think we've been living through that probably since like 20, let's say 15. And we're probably at the end of that era. I'm telling you, and I'm not saying it because that kind of talk annoys me, and like, and not that it annoys me because those issues are relevant in many cases. Like cops are dicks. Um, I don't back the blue 100% of the time. Do I want to see cops get killed? I always say this. Absolutely not. Are cops lazy? Big time. Are cops dicks? Yes, many times. Most times I deal with the cop, he's a straight up dick to me, and that's not because. And I don't dress like a hool. I never have dressed like a hool. I've anybody who I've been around or like since I was a kid. These are not like easygoing people, but I don't dress like the. I'll dress like workman type if anything. Like I try to blend in. I don't want to stick out. But I mean, they're not assholes to the point where I'm gonna fucking cry and go home and beat up a wall about it either. But it's not easy going, and like the whole ticketing shit, give me a break. I mean, that's not a life or death thing, but in New York, a ticket will fuck up your month. $200 for a double parking in New York, like that. Give me a break. Cops and the New York cops right now, like by and large, these assholes just sit in their cars and don't do anything. But they'll give tickets out left and right. Like they'll go after regular working people. They see these migrants, two of them on a fucking motorbike, no helmets, dicking around, eating lights. They don't say shit. They act like they don't see it. But God forbid you stop and like jump out of your car like to an ATM and leave it double parked, and you'll have a ticket in New York in 2 seconds. Actually, you don't even have a cop like give you that ticket. Bus could take a picture of your car while it's idled in a double parking area and give you a ticket automatically. So they're good to go for that. I mean, the cops are on it with that stuff, or the tech that they use is good for that to punish the working man. But everything else we gotta look past. But that's New York, I guess. I mean, and again, somebody else is gonna come to New York and tell me about New York. Like I've jumped on these panels on YouTube, and people tell me, "Oh, well, New York ain't as bad," and I'll say, "Well, why are you saying that?" Well, if you look at these statistics that I just pulled up on Google right now, like while we're having this discussion from fucking CNN or some shit, like then yeah, you got me there. But the shit that my mom sees every day, or the stuff that I see when I go there, or the fact that I actually have eyes and could look around. I've been looking around since I was a kid. These things that I'm like or like I've always made it my business to look around, and gathering information is free. And if you're not like with your head up your ass or your head in the phone, you could do gathering of plenty of information. Let me see some of the comments. Guys, barely do I come on here and have any sort of commentary. Listen, if there's any algorithm, I'm gonna. If you guys ever come back here on a second instance, I can actually give you proof of the algorithm on the platform that we're using right now. See, as I said that I had 12 people listening, dropped down to 8. I have proof of that algorithm at work against yours truly, and it's because of the discourse that I'm bringing to you at this current juncture. I could actually prove it to you guys if I have 20 people come next time around. I'm gonna do a trolley title again. But if I have 20 people come around next time, my biggest enemy on YouTube is a has made his channel into a Kamala cock gobbling channel, and his subscriber count has tripled. And this dude does nothing but emotion. He's a little bitch, but he's my biggest enemy on YouTube. And I never talk about this guy, but he constantly talks about me. Um, anyhow, he's a nobody, but I'm just proving the algorithm because as soon as he became started putting his emotional bullshit on YouTube and being a little hoe online. His name is I am Troll Will, little bitch. But as soon as I am Trill Will LDBC or nothing, something like that. Little bitch, little midget. But and tell him I said that too. Tell him that certified player of Brooklyn said that I am Trill Will is a little hole. Anyhow, the as soon as he became a Kamala channel, his subscriber count must have quadrupled. Like all his videos have tons of bot engagement, shitty ass fucking commentary. I am a Puerto Rican from Brooklyn, and I'm telling you that I will vote Kamala come in 2024 because of hope. I am a Polish man who's living in Poland, and I wish that I was living in the United States so that I could vote for Kamala because she gives hope. But anyhow, and I've been posting, and I'm out. Well, actually, not. Well, I need more people to come so I give my real assessment because my little view count right now is wavering. I don't want to lose it. I want to keep it in the crooked number figures. No, but one day I will give you guys a real breakdown of the proof of my algorithm. I mean, how the algorithm is used against people who are talking conservative stuff in 2024, especially Latin motherfuckers like yours truly, talking things that may sound um, somewhat conservative. And listen, like this is a sign of like what the time we're living in. This might be the ramblings of somebody you just met, whatever. But right now, everything, everything is bailed out like to go after this one dude. Seemingly, like the media has bailed out. They stick their whole reputation on the fact that they want to go after this one guy. Lied to you repeatedly. The medical industry bailed out completely. In a sense, um, not going after the man specifically, but they certainly didn't help. Um, let me see, but what other industry? Politics in general has completely switched it up. Their moral compass has gone out the window. Any standard they have had has gone out the window, and it's all for one guy. You know, it's all for one guy, and that guy may be a few feet away from that seat of power. You know, not a few feet away. Bad comparison. A few weeks away, literally, or a few days away, literally, from potentially that seat being his. Now, as far as hanky panky happening, um, similar to what happened last time. Listen, in terms of what happened last time, the last time I actually watched, cause I go through these periods of time, especially at this time of the year where I'll stay awake late. I've actually not been doing that recently, except for tonight. But on the selection day, I usually watch it until it's done, and I you like to watch people's opinion afterwards, and people hyperventilate. That night, me and my son stood awake, awaiting the result, but we were watching people's live streams as well, like conservative ones. My son was the first conservative of this house, mind you. He was the one that brought me over. He was the one that taught me what he was the first wave of what they were teaching woke stuff in school, real woke stuff. Anyhow, that night we peeped what went down. I mean, that's never went down in that fashion. I mean, from 2021 and even now, you really can't talk candidly of what went down. It's like you can't talk candidly about much of anything. You can't talk candidly of what happened in 2020 as far as that disease goes. Can't talk candidly about the thing that Biden was mandating or requiring certain industries like the aviation industry or the airline industry when he was boasting about forcing them to take mandates or pressuring them to take mandates, and how 99% of them had to drink the tea, whether they wanted to or not. You know, an issue that was humongous with Black and Latin people. The biggest population of tea hesitant people was the Spanish and Black people. They didn't want to take that shit. Um, but everybody bailed out, and everybody's really acting like that didn't just happen a few years ago. Like a lot of people act like this man didn't get his head potentially blown off a few days ago. Ignore people in mass though, because these same people want you to dismiss everything that you see and then stick their emotional feelings at the front of your life. And nobody who's voting for her could tell me why they're voting for her. I mean, without mentioning him. You know, nobody voting for her knows what she's up to because, I mean, I've watched more press on her than 99% of the biggest Kamala voter. I mean, she hasn't had much. I mean, that's probably like 4 hours worth of material total. You know, or I'm not gonna exaggerate. 10 hours worth of material since July that this woman's been campaigning. So there's not much to sift through. She hasn't told the American people what her plans are. But I'm supposed to be a bad person because I'm not voting for her. For what reason? I don't know. But the amount of how things are swinging in the other direction are stupendous right now. I'm to the point where like people were talking about that stuff at the art show I went to in Manhattan. This wasn't no fucking yuppie art show. It was a graffiti art show, but it's not like it's like bootleg either. Like there's pieces of art that were there that were like $4,000. Um, but the artists, you know, by and large, are just regular hood dudes. And I mean, like, nobody there was like, oh, well, you can't talk about Kamala because well, you can't talk about Kamala. It's Kamala. It's Kamala. Do not mispronounce her name. It's Kamala. Hold on. But then let me see. I missed a lot of comments. I'm sorry, guys. I would rather people go to a church. I think I read that than hurt people. Yeah. It feels like so many women are duped into thinking that the only option for them once they have kids is to completely fall back on the promise of financial aid when they might feel like the father wouldn't provide a steady income that came with the issue of gang activity affecting the entire town, not just the people in said gang. It trickles down to the family and friends. But then it also affects how many men feel about settling down. So many women strive to have a higher body count, but that physically brings down a woman's willingness to settle down and in turn makes a man less willing to settle down as well. My man is also Puerto Rican. Plus, she stole Trump's no tax and tips proposition. True. She also could do that now, but won't. Yeah, I mean, there's not much like the same people that pull her strings pull his strings. It's a joke if you think otherwise. I mean, whether she wins or not, I mean, some people rationalize that. Well, like she has a lot of professionals, and like in her panel, like Biden did. Well, if those were professionals, they fucking suck. I mean, my cats are better professionals than these people. But some people rationalize again, like when you're arguing with liberals, I mean they'll switch the debate on you in 2 seconds because somebody was making it seem when I indicated that Kamala presidency would be a presidency run by people who behind the scenes we don't know who they are. But that person was then telling me that, oh well, those people behind the scenes are professionals because you could just assume that naturally because since they're not Trump, those people behind the scenes, well, they're not Trump's behind the scenes people. So naturally, since they're not Trump's behind the scenes people, then they're good people, they're good professional people, and the results speak for themselves. Because listen, like look at how much joy we're living in these last couple of years. I mean, these Venezuelans that are in New York are with the shits entirely. I mean, nobody likes them. Black people hate them. Puerto Ricans hate them. Dominicans hate them. Let's see. The only people that hate them, I mean, that abide them, are really like the liberal New York class that works in the Upper East Side or the Riverside Park crowd. Who else? The Long Island crowd, the Hampton crowd. Those people love the migrant wave. They don't live amongst them. Or when they do, or when something happens to them, then it's a big deal because well, I'm the biggest defender of these people, but now they go after me. Let me see. She could do that now. But the old puppet broke. It's all about emotions rather than evidence. Feelings over fact is the best way to put it. And yeah, a lot of these people don't remember Biden a couple of years ago. And I'm not saying that I'm a fucking sage either. Like, because I'm a ninth grade dropout, but I've always been interested. I mean, maybe I just hear things in the peripheral. Who knows? But I remember Biden's political history before Obama even, and like a lot of like what I remember of him was that him making the news for saying off the cuff shit and honestly saying shit that was quasi racist back in the day. Or being tied in with the 94 crime bill. Like when Biden was describing the 94 crime bill in the Senate or pushing for it, he was more driven and more on point than I've ever seen him politically in his life. I mean, and that crime bill went specifically, by and large, after black people. But that's all good though. He had a change of heart because something with Obama and Obama played basketball. Obama does a basketball bracket on ESPN, so he's all right. Um, but everything I remember of Biden had a racist undertone to him. In fact, I remember when they were proposing as to who they wanted to run with Obama, the reasoning behind putting Joe Biden was because he was considered a centrist, which at that time, a centrist, was basically somebody who was aligned or close to the conservative base, which was at that time Senator Byrd, known racist, member of the KKK. Oh, but that's different though, because everything that has to do with racism in relation to its past and the Democratic Party could all be explained by really not explaining it and just saying that's different or you don't know what you're talking about. But anything to do with conservatism, whether you're black and you just found conservatism last week, or whether you're a family man who's conservative um, since the new form of living post COVID, anybody who's conservative is either brainwashed, part of a cult, racisms, what else? Sellout, you know, and believe me, not that I'm not gonna say I've heard it all. Like, I've heard like if I'm not gonna lie to you and say that um, many people have told me that in person, I guess that know me. But when everybody got sequestered behind the computer screen during the great COVID war of fucking 2020, a lot of people were woofing, significantly woofing, and really signaling their virtue regarding their politics. Those people have gone largely silent. A lot of those people too have run into medical problems. I mean, that's something I want to talk about candidly on this channel too. The large wave of heart problems that I'm beginning to see amongst my friend group, a little concerning. Pericarditis, myocarditis, something that people from my age group, young 40s, never thought about. That now related to anything with the exception of the fact that they ingested something into their body that they never did prior to. I mean, I'm having people tell me that they're getting heart problems because of vaping. I'm having people tell me they're getting heart problems because of long COVID, because of what else? New COVID stress, heart problems because of divorce, even though people are getting divorced at their 40s since I was a kid. Never seen that happen. So, I mean, like, we're getting a new wave of tough conversations that gotta be had, and emotion gotta be drawn out of it completely. Um, and frankly, I mean, I've experienced racism firsthand. I mean, when I was in growing up, I mean, my neighborhood had black and Puerto Rican cats. My perception was that we were getting it way tougher, not way tougher, but tougher than black cats were as far as police treatment went. And honestly, too, like, the people that we would look up to, like the last dads in our community were the black cats, like Mr. Richardson from my building. Fuck, like those are the last families. Like the Puerto Rican dads ditched off on us. Before, they got involved with getting doped up. As far as in Sunset Park where I live, but a lot of the dudes that ran little mechanic shops, stores, were the black cats. You know, um, and it's kind of like my last semblance of remembering regular families, like as a popular thing. And I remember I'm not gonna I don't want to sound fucked up if I bring that up, because I mean a lot of you people don't know. I mean maybe after time though too, because I like if I say something now like with my enunciation, it sounds fucked up, but I guess once you people know me more, I'm extremely ghetto, but even though I don't sound that way, but I could speak on whatever the fuck I want. I mean, honestly, but nowadays, I mean, if you guys don't know what I look like, fucking people get perturbed by identity politics, so you can't speak on everything candidly. But you guys do come back here though, 'cause I got a lot to fill you in on regarding the algorithm that's been waged against me. Proof of the algorithm that's waged against me. More political discourse gets spicier every day. Fucking war breaking out everywhere. You name it. Um, I talk about it. I want to talk about it candidly here. Um, not gonna show my face any longer. Um, for these pre-election streams, if you will. But all of them may have the title similar to this evening's. But do come back tomorrow. I want to cut it off now and relax. And I have other stuff to talk about too. Recent stuff that I've been peeping. I want to go into New York more frequently and give you guys stories of over there and try to show you the skinny of what's going down. Maybe even talk to some people out there too. That'd be cool. But don't get caught up. I mean, honestly, I'm like gonna say like vote like or I'm not gonna be atypical. Actually, yeah, go fucking vote. Whatever. Um, I was gonna frame it that I usually don't vote, in spite of the fact that I'm politically in tune. The fact that I do think that there's a hanky panky that does happen. Not that I think. I actually I'm not gonna go much into that, but I know for sure that that stuff's not in the up and up, especially in New York, especially in my neighborhood. I'll put it like that. Let's put it like that. But would like to talk about that stuff more, and the fact that we're facing an election really close. Like to get you guys insight, and I mean MAGA Queen 2024, Jennifer Lynn, uh, that other fella MD with the two initials. Thank you for even engaging me. I'm over here a lot of times um, talking about myself, and I think it's because YouTube doesn't send people my direction unless I trick it, if you will. But regardless, thank you for engaging in general because it makes it a lot easier. I mean, I wish I could hype up a larger crowd, but I'll take whatever I could get. But it does show you though that your viewpoints are contending against the mainstream media, the medical industry, the YouTube algorithm, big tech, whatever have you. But here we are, and in spite of that, um, all those things being waged against people discussing it here on YouTube or wherever, Facebook, but it's also been weaponized against the man who's potentially going to be occupying the seat in a few days. And people ingested that. People ate that. People were celebrating when sitting president was censored off of Twitter a couple of years ago. People forgot about that. But hopefully, it's the end of that. I'd rather not talk in a censorial fashion or try to talk vague. I like to be more repulsive and bigoted, if you will. I think anybody should say whatever they want. You got bad stuff to say about Puerto Ricans, I'd like to hear it. Um, and it's your right to say it, and it's my duty to endure it. That's it. Nobody should be policing what anybody should say because some asshole could come around the bend and say, well, now you're not allowed to say this anymore. Black people, when this new migrant wave becomes the wave that the liberals care about more than you, what if they start censoring us and saying that we can't talk about them because of racism or a safety issue or bigotry or whatever new term they want to come up with? We can't employ the tactics that are going to be positioned against us for the DNC at that. We're going to applaud like the DNC being the one wielding the mechanisms of power and who gets censored or not. Fuck that. Fuck the whole DNC. I mean, if you want to go back into dealing with them, go right ahead. I just don't. I mean, and should this nutbag win, I don't want to hear shit about anything to do with fucking trying to get something done politically when a large bevy of so-called minorities are being silenced by the morons amongst us who are trumpeting their emotions. But with that, I hope you guys, if you guys came here for a cat, I don't know if you guys came here for my cat videos. Let me show you my main menace, fucking asshole thumbs. He's been bothering the shit out of me. He keep actually look at him in action right now as we speak. Fucking menacing my little baby Prince. Charlie Prince. He had a cold. His name Prince. But this goon with his fucking extra finger thumbs, he keeps bothering the rest of the cats, including him, who's sick. But and this one doesn't believe in he's woke too because he's been bothering the lady cats of late. But with that, I hope you guys leave. I didn't intend to show my face, but faggot. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. With that, I'm out. Look at him bothering the cat. You saw that? Dick. All right. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Peace.